The film begins with a little girl named Penny entering an animal shelter, where she takes a liking to a small white dog playing with a carrot. She decides to buy him and puts a collar on him with his new name Bolt. 5 years later, Penny receives a phone call from her father, who seems frightened and tells her there's a problem at work and he can't come home. He tells her that Bolt will be able to protect her because he has undergone experiments that gave him superpowers. Penny takes Bolt and goes to observe the company from a distance using binoculars, where she sees a video of a man named Dr. Calico holding her father and asking him to confess. Penny's father refuses to confess, prompting Calico to instruct one of his men to bring something to force the doctor to confess. Penny follows the man until he disappears from her sight, and suddenly, a car appears attempting to kidnap her, but Bolt runs toward the car at high speed, causing it to flip over as soon as he touches it. Bolt then grabs her and stands on a bridge, and Penny asks the driver where her father is being held, causing the driver to fearfully confess that he's in Bolivia. Penny quickly escapes on a scooter with Bolt from the planes and motorcycles sent by Calico to kidnap her. Bolt uses his superpowers to defeat Calico's followers and save Penny, but there are too many of them, and they manage to surround them. At that moment, Bolt uses his super bark and destroys them all. When Penny and Bolt get into their car, it becomes clear that this was all just acting for a TV show. The director starts reviewing the scenes and gets angry upon discovering a microphone visible in the shot. He explains to his assistants that he doesn't like reshooting the dog's scenes because he believes the dog thinks he actually has superpowers, and if he discovers the truth, his performance won't be good, and the audience won't believe his acting. The production manager yells at him, saying that all she cares about is keeping people from changing the channel and continuing to watch the show by any means necessary, or else she'll fire him. In the dressing room, Penny thanks her dog, who believes he truly has superpowers, feeds him, plays with him a little, hugs him, and then leaves the room. She tries to convince her mother and manager to take the dog home with her, but her manager refuses because the dog might discover he doesn't have superpowers, and they leave the place. Two cats appear and talk about Bolt, saying he never leaves the filming location, and they look at him through the skylight, saying that one day they'll reach his owner Penny and defeat him, but Bolt tells them they've chosen the path of evil, which will ultimately destroy them. One of the cats says that the man with the green eye has a plan and will execute it, and he'll kill Penny, so they leave him and go away. Penny returns to film new scenes with Bolt under the director's supervision, who focuses on every detail. At the end of the shoot, Dr. Calico, with his green eye, appears with his cat, kidnapping Penny. The scene ends, and the director tells the production manager that he left the show's ending open to create a second part. Meanwhile, Penny runs after Bolt after they put him in a box to show that she's okay, but her manager stops her and tells her that the dog must continue to believe she's in danger and kidnapped for the filming to be genuine and impactful. While Bolt is in the dressing room, as soon as the cats open the skylight, he escapes from the place and runs to the filming location. When he hears Penny's voice calling for help, he tries to reach the source of the sound coming from the editing room. He tries to get out of the window but hits the glass and falls into a box, losing consciousness. A worker comes and closes the box, placing it in the delivery truck that takes it to the street warehouse. Bolt escapes as soon as the worker opens the box and runs quickly in the street. As soon as he sees a man sitting reading a newspaper, he thinks it's Dr. Calico, runs quickly, and tries to destroy the wire with his superpowers but can't. He is surprised by what happened and passes through an opening, and when he approaches the man, he finds someone else, so he runs quickly in the street, scared until his head gets stuck in a park fence. A small pigeon stands in front of him and calls its owners to help him get his head out. After that, Bolt asks the pigeon if they know the man with the green eye, but they say they don't know this person, and Bolt looks familiar to them. The pigeon tries to remember where they've seen him before, and coincidentally, a bus with an ad for the Bolt show and his picture on it stops, but the pigeon still doesn't remember who he is. Bolt asks if they know any cat to ask about the man with the green eye, and they decide to take him to the cat they know. We see the cat Mittens approached by a pigeon offering her food it gathered all day. Mittens tells the pigeon that the food it brought is not enough and that when she's hungry, she eats anything in front of her. Suddenly, Bolt attacks her and asks where Penny is, and when she tries to explain that she doesn't know what he's talking about, the pigeons take the opportunity to tell Bolt that this cat knows where the man with the green eye is because she takes food from them. Bolt grabs the cat from the chair and threatens to kill her if she doesn't tell him where Penny is. Mittens asks him to put her down and she'll talk, so Bolt ties her with a rope to his tail. At that moment, the cat pulls a prank and takes out a game map, explaining that it's a map of the whole world. She shows him their location on the map and tells him that her boss with the green eye kidnapped Penny in Hollywood. When Mittens asks Bolt to untie her, he refuses and tells her she must first take him to Penny. Bolt goes to a car labeled Hollywood Studios, but finds it locked with a padlock. When he tries to use the laser to open the lock, he's surprised that nothing happens. He takes advantage of two people moving a couch to the car and hides hides under the couch with the cat. They succeed in entering the car, which takes them away. We return to Penny, who is very sad about losing Bolt, and her manager enters, telling her he has a surprise for her. Penny gets excited, thinking he found Bolt, but he tells her he arranged a TV interview for her. She feels disappointed because she's more concerned about Bolt and tells her mother that the dog is surely scared now. Inside the car, Mittens tries to understand from Bolt how he's a superdog, and he tells her it's classified information. She provokes him, telling him he doesn't have any superpowers, and as soon as Bolt touches the material people use to move furniture, he jumps out of the car. When his hand bleeds, he thinks this material weakens and hurts him. Mittens holds a piece of the material and threatens him with it, but Bolt pounces on her and asks her not to do that again. Then they go to a camping area, and Mittens tells him that food is the remedy to heal. By training him on how to gain people's sympathy to give him food, Bolt succeeds in the test. He starts knocking on everyone's doors, gaining their sympathy, and collecting a large amount of food until he reaches a car where an elderly woman lives with a hamster named Rhino. When Rhino sees Bolt, he gets very excited and tells him that he's the hero of his favorite TV show. Rhino continues to talk about Bolt's superpowers, which leaves Bolt surprised because no one is supposed to see that. When they ask about Penny, they say she's kidnapped, so Rhino decides to help him rescue her. He takes them to jump off a bridge onto the train passing underneath. Mittens gets scared and refuses to do it, calling them crazy. But Bolt grabs an advertisement and jumps off the bridge, and they all land on the train's roof, with Mittens almost falling off the train. Bolt intervenes and helps her. When Bolt is about to fall, Mittens tries to help him, but Rhino thinks she's going to drop him. Instantly, he pounces to help him, causing all three to fall off the train. After that, Mittens tries to convince Bolt that he's the star of a TV show and that everything he does is acting, meaning he doesn't have superpowers. She proves it to him because his powers haven't worked since he left the filming location. But he denies her words and feels upset, trying to prove his powers to her, but failing each time, causing the cat to mock him. Suddenly, animal control forces arrive, capturing Bolt and Mittens, and when Rhino sees what happened, he decides to go help them. We return to Penny, who is approached by her manager with a new dog resembling Bolt, but she realizes it's not the real Bolt and that he's deceiving her. The production manager enters, telling Penny that stopping filming will cause many problems and asks her to forget Bolt and return to filming. At the same time, Bolt tries to escape from the car he's locked in with the cat. Rhino reaches the car and tries to open the door at the same moment Bolt attempts to use his powers. When the door opens, Bolt and Rhino fall out of the car. Bolt feels a great joy, thinking his powers have returned, but he discovers that Rhino opened the door, feeling sad when he understands he's just an ordinary dog without superpowers. They encourage Rhino, making him remember the things he did in his show. Bolt decides to rescue Mittens with Rhino's help, and they go to the place where she's imprisoned. They take advantage of the officer leaving the door after hearing a strange noise. Bolt goes to rescue Mittens, and the cat can't believe he came back for her. He opens the door for her, and they go to get Rhino to escape, but an officer sees them and starts chasing them. But they manage to escape after causing a fire in the place. When they find a truck in the street, they enter it to escape. Bolt tells Mittens that he's convinced he doesn't have any superpowers, so Mittens tells him it's better to be an ordinary dog, because that's a beautiful thing. They all continue to play together and move from place to place by car, enjoying a natural animal life full of adventure and excitement without any superpowers. One day, Mittens surprises Bolt with a house she made for them, showing it off excitedly, but Bolt surprises her by saying he must return to Penny. Mittens takes Bolt to his show's advertisement, telling him that Penny doesn't really love him and that she's acting, but Bolt refuses her words, telling her he'll return to her no matter what. Mittens feels sad, remembering her story with her friends, and asks Bolt to leave her alone, so he walks away sadly. When Rhino asks Mittens where Bolt is, she tells him he went to fight the man with the green eyes alone, so Rhino says he'll go help him, because Bolt taught him not to leave a friend in danger alone. Bolt arrives in Hollywood, where he meets a group of fans, asking them for help searching for Penny. The fans agree and take him to the studio where the show is being filmed. Meanwhile, Mittens and Rhino arrive in Hollywood and head to the filming location. Bolt enters his dressing room when he hears Penny's voice and sees her, running toward her to hug her. But he's surprised when he finds her hugging another dog that looks like him. He's affected by the scene, remembering Mittens' words, and leaves sadly, not knowing it's acting. When the scene ends, Penny hugs her mother, sad because she misses the real Bolt. Mittens sees what happened and decides to find Bolt. A new scene from the show begins, and we see Calico hanging by his rope, and Bolt enters to rescue her. But the dog playing Bolt's role gets scared and runs, causing the place to catch fire. Mittens goes to Bolt, telling him what she saw and that Penny loves and misses him very much. Suddenly, Bolt hears the fire, and he runs quickly with Mittens and Rhino. Bolt manages to enter the fire scene at the last moment, continuing to search for Penny, who is delighted when she sees him, runs toward him, and hugs him. They try to escape the place, and Penny holds onto her rope, following it until they reach the ventilation opening. But Penny falls and can't move, hugging Bolt, who refuses to leave her. Bolt barks loudly in the ventilation ducts, and everyone hears his voice, with rescue workers entering to save them. Her mother goes to check on her in the ambulance. When Penny's manager enters, her mother hits him, telling him he's fired, and decides to adopt Bolt and Mittens, taking them with Penny. They all play together in the garden, living together happily.